Hello everybody and welcome to a new video and welcome to my channel where we talk about everything music from death metal to Queen and everything in between. On today's video we have a new albums ranking video and this is going to be awesome because it's featuring the almighty Slayer. Great band, very influential. Now first off, I want to address this before we get started. I am actually a huge Slayer fan, but I actually like everything up to the 90s very much and not much from then on. I mean, I do like some of the stuff, but I'm not a huge fan. So I did have to sit there and re-listen to these albums so that I can rank them for this video. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please drop me a like if you do, and don't forget to comment your list in the comment section down below. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so all the way at the bottom, my least favorite Slayer album goes out to Undisputed Attitude from 1996. Undisputed worst Slayer album for me. I mean, here's the deal. It's not really a bad album per se, but it's covering a lot of bands and a lot of punk songs that I don't really care for or care about for that matter, because I'm not a fan of punk music. So it really never vibed with me. I mean, I understand that they were influenced by punk music, like a lot of thrash bands were, but I'm not a fan of the genre. I mean, I probably like one or two punk songs, but I'm not gonna sit there and listen to a full punk album. It's just never gonna happen. But hey, if you do like punk music, this album might just be right up your alley. So do give it a listen. You might like it. Okay, so number 11, my second least favorite Slayer album goes out to great title, God Hates Us All, from 2001. I was actually very excited about this album when it first came out in 2001 because I was a teen. I was about 14 and I was just getting into the more extreme side of metal. Of course, I liked Metallica, Motorhead, and a lot of bands like that, but Slayer was kind of taking it a step further. So I was really excited for this album. Also, I really liked the album title. And there were two different cover versions. You had the uncensored one and the censored one. And the uncensored one was actually really cool. And I'm not really sure why it actually got censored, because I mean, it's not that bad, it's not that graphic. I mean, it does have to do with the Bible, but you know, it's not that bad. I mean, the album title itself, it's probably as bad as the picture. But anyway, I actually did get the chance to check out the uncensored cover, and I was really excited about it. And when I did save the money to buy the album, I actually got the CD, went back home, played it, and hated it. And I really wanted to like it, so I did listen to it a few times after, but it just wasn't what I expected. And let's be honest, I don't really know why I was expecting so much out of God Hates Us All when the album they had previously released was number 10 on this list, Diabolos in Musica from 1998. I mean, that album sucks unless you take Slayer out of the equation altogether, and if you think about it as if you're listening to a different band. Because here's the deal, I mean, you do hear Tom Araya's vocals and they're unmistakable, but the music is just not Slayer. It sounds completely different. You can definitely tell they were heavily influenced by the hardcore / new metal wave that was coming in. So it's a completely different sounding beast from everything else they had released. Again, I am not a fan, and I never was a fan of new metal. I don't care for Mudvayne, Slipknot, you name it. I don't care for them. So when this came out, it was an atrocity. It sucked. And I still don't like it, even though the sound quality and production is top notch. But the low tuning, the rapping in between the songs, it's an insult to an old school Slayer fan. I mean, I get what they were trying to do, but again, that's just me. Your mileage may vary. Coming in at number 9, Repentless from 2015. Now really, from here on this ranking, the albums start to get a lot better. This album was not really all that bad, but it was missing a huge, crucial part of Slayer, Jeff Hanneman. I mean, the production quality is really good, the artwork is really good, but it was just lacking that, Jeff Hanneman. His riffs, his playing, and more importantly, his lyrics. Because the lyrics are a huge low point on this album. Okay, so at number 8, we have the first album that actually features the full original Slayer lineup other than Undisputed Attitude. And you can definitely tell that all the right parts are there. This spot goes out to Christ Illusion from 2006. Not a great album by any means, but it was definitely a step in the right direction. It started to sound like classic Slayer again, and that was a win in my book. For lucky number 7, I chose War Painted Blood from 2009. This album was released after Christ Illusion, and it was the last album to feature the full classic Slayer lineup. You had Kerry King on guitar, you had Jeff Hanneman on guitars, you had Tom Araya on vocals, and of course, Dave Lombardo on drums. The best lineup they ever had. And don't get me wrong, I had nothing against Gary Holt or Paul Bostaph. They're great musicians, but they didn't have the Slayer secret sauce. Coming in at number 6, another classic, Divine Intervention from 1994. That was the first album to feature Paul Bostaph on drums instead of Dave Lombardo. And this, to me, is the best drumming he ever did. This is the most classic sounding Slayer album they came up with, without Dave Lombardo. And it still had some of that classic Slayer mojo that we talked about before. But honestly, the first time I heard it, I was expecting more of classic Slayer, and this wasn't it. So it took me a while to really appreciate this album for what it was, just as much as the next one, 1990s Seasons in the Abyss. Getting into the top 5 Slayer albums at this point. Seasons in the Abyss is a really cool album. You had downtuned guitars, you had raw aggression, you still had Dave Lombardo, and you had one of my favorite Slayer songs, War Ensemble. Now let's take a second and talk about the album's artwork. What were they thinking? I mean, seriously, come on. Really? That alone put me off for so long. But yeah, really cool album. It starts out really strong with War Ensemble, and it kind of just goes downhill from there, but it's not a very steep downhill. I mean, you still have some really cool points and high points in the album. Okay, so for this top 4, I think just like with the Metallica top 4, we're all going to agree with. I mean, we might actually list them in a different order, and you can ask me again in a year, and I myself might actually list them differently, but these 4 have to be at the top. And we're all probably going to agree that number 4 goes out to South of Heaven from 1988. Great cover, great sound, and you had a lot of that very awesome, dark harmonies that they used to play back in the 80s. One of my very favorite parts of Slayer were the harmonies on the intros, like South of Heaven. They just sounded so evil and dark and fucking awesome. So yeah, great album. I am probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but just hear me out. Spot number 3 goes out to Raining Blood. I know, blasphemy, right? I mean, give me a break. Angel of Death, Raining Blood, Postmortem, Jesus Save, Piece by Piece, Necrophobic, I can probably name them all. Great album, and it was the album that took Slayer to the big leagues, and it brought Slayer to the masses. I mean, a lot of people have only heard of Raining Blood, but I overplayed the hell out of it. It's awesome, I just don't need to listen to it anymore. But I gotta be objective here. It's a little bit repetitive, and it's a little bit too short.
That's what she said.
It's only about 28 minutes. I mean, imagine that. Buying a long play vinyl album, blasting it, and it's only 28 minutes. And I know, I read the interview where they complain about it, and I think it was Tom Araya that said, you know, it has the same amount of choruses, and solos, and intros, and verses as any old Judas Priest album. It's just faster. But yeah, only 28 minutes. They could have probably squeezed 1 or 2 songs in and make it a little bit longer. Now this is the toughest choice on the ranking. I actually grabbed them both and I looked at them before I started the video because I was like, I can't choose. I mean, they're both so great. We have Show No Mercy from 1983 and of course, Hell Waits from 1985. Now I actually brought them here and I started looking at them because I still wasn't sure of which one I was going to choose. And I'm still not 100% sure. So this might change if you ask me in a week or 2. But for the number 2 spot, I am going to choose Show No Mercy. Again, a great album. Highly influential. I mean, I already spoke about this album when I compared it to Kill 'Em All by Metallica. But man, I mean, on this album you got Die by the Sword, The Antichrist, No Boundaries, Tormentor, Black Magic, Show No Mercy. I mean, such a classic album. And I love the album, but I gotta tell you, as great as this album was, I don't think it captures what Slayer was going to become. It doesn't really sound like Slayer. It sounds like Metallica or Testament or Exodus, you know, other bands that were playing at this time. But it doesn't really sound like Slayer. And of course, for spot number 1, we have, like I said before, Hell Waits from 1985. Great album. Great album. I mean, you definitely have a step up in the album cover, the sound quality, the production, the track list. You got great songs. You've got, of course, the intro to Hell Awaits, which is super epic and dark and awesome. But you have that raw Slayer speed in Kill Again and Necrophiliac. You also have great lyrics, great sound quality, better riffs. And I gotta tell you, the reason why I chose this guy as the number 1 spot is because it's the one I actually enjoy most listening to. I can listen to it back to back, no problems, no issues. It just works. And of course, when I think classic Slayer, I think Hell Awaits and Raining Blood. But Raining Blood, like I said before, I played it way too many times. Okay, so that's my ranking. So again, a quick recap. Number 12, we have Undisputed Attitude. Number 11, God Hates Us All. Diabolos and Musica and Repentless, 10th and 9th. War Painted Blood and Christ Illusion. Divine Intervention, Seasons in the Abyss. South of Heaven, Raining Blood, Show No Mercy, and Hell Awaits. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please drop me a like if you did. Let me see your list in the comment section down below. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel like a man if you haven't yet. And if you enjoyed the content and you want to contribute, hit the join button down there or go check out my Patreon. I'll see you guys next time. Fat out, metal on, dudes.